Alright, welcome back to our show. You already know I'm your girl, Kubri Love, and today we have a special guest with us who goes by the name of Glenn Charlery. He is a well-known poet here on Island, and he's also an author of the book Poetic Vision. Right here.
Shameless advertising.
Yes. Yes, this is available on Amazon. Alright, Glenn, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
You're doing wonderful. I am
Yes.
happy to hear. Day is going good so far.
Of course, I'm in wonderful company.
Nice to know. Alright, so Glenn, how long have you been a poet? Let's just jump right into it.
I don't know how to put a date on it. It's just something that you just evolve into.
So you've always known yourself to be a poet.
I think that the qualities that would make one a poet is something that I can always see in myself. So I've always been sensitive. I've always been observant. So
You see the world a little different than the average person.
well, at least comparable to the people around me.
Okay.
So I also had a different perspective from my immediate family. My closest neighbors. Yeah.
So would you call yourself like an artistic person? Do you dabble in any other form of art?
Unfortunately, there are lots of art forms that I love. God just didn't give me talent.
You don't have that singing, just drop some bars kind of, no.
In my mind, Michael Jackson. Okay?
But out loud is something
In
else.
reality, it's something else.
Alright, so we're sticking to the poetry, the words, taking your time to say them.
Yes.
Awesome, that's good. And do you have any other like poetic people in your family that you can relate to, or did that happen a little later where you found persons who kind of saw the world the way closer to how you see it?
Well, actually, I have a grand uncle who was a prolific storyteller. So I think I probably had that griot vibe in my family. That storyteller vibe. And I had an older uncle who was very musical. I do have some artistic people in my family, but more along the lines of graphic artists and designers.
Okay.
My mom was in stress. My uncle designed costumes, so we had that.
You had a lot of creatives.
Yeah, so we had creatives in the family.
So when do you think you started realizing that you had the potential to be a creative? Because you said you always had the vision and the sight and like the thoughts and feelings for it, but then when did you say, hey, let me start putting this on paper or doing something with
I always knew I wanted to tell stories. It's something that came natural to me. I always enjoyed stories.
Why is that like the quick quack? Itty quick, itty quack. Is that not? Is that
some of it.
or more like essay type stories?
I could create stories.
Okay.
So I had a good long-term vision. So I can, just as my mother used to stitch with thread, I can stitch. I had that gift to stitch images in my head to tell a story. I was always good at comparing things. That thing looks like that. Pinching it into metaphors. I also had an overactive imagination that can be a blessing or a curse. I like to see that I learned to put my demons behind poetic bars. So you have these thoughts in your mind, can almost drive you to madness. Sometimes.
Like your intrusive thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay, so you put them down.
Yeah, so it was kind of a curse. But I just learned how to use them. So these thoughts that used to haunt me, I learned to put them into metaphors and to stitch poems out of them. So that's how my evolution came. So it wasn't like I just woke up and said, I think I'm going to be a poet.
Okay.
A natural progression.
So what kind of reactions you used to get when more of the intense thoughts were shared with others? Like they used to be like, did they not, like how you say that, separate you from your work? Like, oh, I did not know you were thinking that or feeling that, or?
Well, I used to keep my thoughts more private because I know that they were not thoughts that would have been well accepted. I was always very pro-African and pro-black. And I think that had to do because of my my family. So I had a lot of, if not white, close to white members of my family, as opposed to very dark-skinned members. So I had like, so I was privy to, both worlds. And so I didn't have that awe of white people that I just found a lot of people had. Because for me, like, I'm familiar with them, they're not all that special,
Okay,
so
it was like normal.
Yeah, but then I could see the difference in how people have been treated, how people have been perceived. So if you know that you're related to somebody who is fairer, then you accept it a little more.
Yeah, that the pigmentocracy of it.
Yeah, if you you know that they associate you with the darker members of your family, so like, oh, that's my family, so it was very stark for me, the difference in treatment that people receive. So I always kind of favored the underdogs. Because I always felt that the darker skinned people in my family, they had this realness about them. They had something that I wanted that I could never have. Like my mother wanted me to be a certain way, like mold me in a particular way. And it just seemed very, very plastic. However, like the rural people, they just themselves, they just raw and, so I really loved them and I wanted that in my life.
So did you write about it, like an outlet to kind of like put yourself in the world of like having it? Or you wrote about it in a sense of appreciation?
I didn't know it. So I felt for me to do justice to that word, I had to put myself in it. You can't write about something that you don't know, and because I was so sheltered from that aspect of life, I felt that I had to withdraw myself from society, immerse myself in the rural settings. So I actually lived down Shrewsbury for a little while to get in touch with my roots, to
kind of like more greenery kind of setting.
Yeah, to ground myself. I found something interesting. Like I saw myself as a literary person. That's something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be a storyteller. I used to see stories on television. I felt that's something that I want to do. But then I didn't have this supporting love for reading. That one ought to have as a writer. Because of my allegiance to my blackness. And all literature was very Eurocentric, so it was kind of a turn off for me. Except when I discovered African literature. So I started to read books like books from Ben Buchanan and Chinwe Achebe, and I discovered all of these African writers. And I found that I could just read all day. I can just wake up in the morning and...
So you found your niche, you found your thing, and you're like, oh.
I just absorbed it, Those writers who were experiencing what I was experiencing, so I almost felt like a scroll was handed to me, like a relay battle, so I take it now and so I look around me, how can I contribute to this legacy of Afrocentric writing? So I have this Afrocentric perspective to my poetry. So I try to catalog my experiences.
So that when somebody else get it,
pass on the battle.
They have that same feeling that you had.
Yes.
Keep it going. wonderful. And did you have? So I guess that was definitely a challenge getting those types of materials, or was it like readily available? Like, did you get it from libraries? Did persons walk up to you, give you books like that?
Well, I gravitated towards the Rastafari community.
Also, so those persons would introduce you to different materials.
Yes.
Okay.
And these are the people who felt as I did, like they wanted to be connected with the African history, and even their spirituality was different. You know, I challenged the spirituality that was kind of thrown down my throat. Like I just didn't feel it. Like, you know, Christianity didn't work for me. It didn't work for me from a very young age. Of course, you have these ideas, but you cannot necessarily express it. You cannot tell your mother as a primary school child that you want to go to church. You know?
Because you have to do what your mother says.
Yeah, you know. Yeah.
I get you, definitely. Okay, how do you think that went into your writing? Like, if I read any of the poems from the book that you have here, would I see some of that, or is that more in your earlier years?
Definitely in my earlier years. I was a lot more radical when I started, because I had a sense of mission about this, you know? Yeah. So if I wrote a poem that on the surface seems like a love poem, it would be with the intent of, you know, lifting up my black sisters, and, you know, I try to write a lot of inspirational pieces, pieces of condemnation towards parts of our culture, or we have accepted as our culture, which is actually Eurocentric and damaging. So I try to point out a lot of these things, a lot of traits in our society, you know, oppressive traits that were handed down to us, you know, through the process of slavery and colonialization, and try to bring us back to what I felt was, you know, our true self. Do I still feel that way? I don't know.
Do you find yourself writing anything similar? Because then as you grow, your thoughts and your thoughts change, it evolve, and then you start seeing it differently or seeing more, because then times change as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can write something and it's true for the time, but then society evolves. Like I have poems speaking about the discrimination that persons involved with marijuana would suffer, and that was a reality.
Yeah.
However, I mean, lots of change. People's attitude towards it has changed, you know. So I think I would look a little silly if I came on stage and you know, stop arresting people for marijuana, you know. It's kind of the past.
Yeah, you're gonna have to move with as life evolves. I get you.
Yeah. I think the society is a lot more conscious, so maybe pieces that I would have written with the intent of enlightening, they might seem a little trite now because society has run past that.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And definitely with more persons, I guess being a voice for, I guess, discriminating activities is what caused society to evolve and change, and I guess be better when we don't have to be protesting as much.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now I think my work would be a lot more nuanced than it was. It was not like there's a straight line where, you know, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys, you know. It's a lot more nuanced. That's why I can't necessarily write as I used to. It's not everybody who looks like us, you know, who's necessarily our kin or, you know, on the same vibe with us. And so this whole thing of, oh, yeah, let me go hug everybody, my black brothers and sisters. No, I don't feel that way.
Can't just be approaching people like this. No. So I believe I was talking to a few of the other poets. I think Liz also mentioned that you have influenced her a lot in her journey. I'm sure you've influenced other persons. So what forums do you, I guess, help giving back with that? I think she mentioned, I'm not sure, I can't remember the name on the program, but she said it was a program where she came and poets or writers actually would assist persons in improving their writing. So do you still do stuff like that? Do you teach or
writers forum?
yes, that's it.
I'm always willing to give back. It's just that I don't think that the channels exist in the way that I would wish. I'm not sure if the interest is there either. It might be, but because the channels no longer exist where we used to have this kind of these sharings of ideas. I don't see people that often. And funk no longer exists, so it's not like
no, heaven is still there, but it's not the same way that they used to do it. They do it more like a performance, like a show basis. So
well, it was a regular thing. So
it's not as intimate as I've heard they used to do it.
So artistic people kind of had a little community, you know, so you constantly meet people. So since we don't have those regular forums, it's hard to see whether the interest is there or not, because I'm just not around people who want to get into this. You know, Namu was very active at one point.
Yeah, I think that's what Dawa is trying to do now, to keep it alive, keep it going, to I guess help people network between the fields. So
that'll be awesome. And again, we had COVID too. You know, it kind of
got everybody separated.
Yes.
Definitely. But have you ever thought about creating a space like that? Because I believe when you was a show, the Ubuntu poetry competition, as much as you were a judge, as much as you were a judge on there, even though you were giving the your thoughts and critiques or whatever, they helped. Because when I started going to the show and when I was done with it, I found that I was a lot better. Because even though it was a competition and you want to win, you as a judge personally, directly, you gave me some pointers on how to project and how to, I guess, stand or say something more with more emphasis on that kind of stuff. And it helped a lot. It helped a lot.
Appreciating that.
So I can I guess have a little idea of what Liz probably experienced, because then she had teachers on a one-on-one basis. So just a little nudge, a little hint, you know, maybe if you can create something like that or encourage others who are more experienced.
Actually, I did start something with some other like-minded people, and then a little thing called COVID came along. I kind of smashed it. I'm thinking of doing something. It's just that the enthusiasm isn't there like it used to be. To be honest.
Well, I think it's probably just find the right people, because sometimes you want to use up persons who are available, but then they're not, their interest isn't as on the same level of yours. So then maybe if you reach out to different persons to get persons who are enthusiastic about it, like you said, because you know, and then you come together to make it happen.
I'm thinking about something.
Well, you know, me as an upcoming poet, I'm definitely saying, hey, we want this, we need this, let's make it happen.
Alright, so we'll talk off camera.
Yes. And is there any poems that you know you can give us a little taste from?
Soul. Every man's soul is a window in a state of being that houses God. God wears men as if they were coats when embarking on an experience, much as men were clothes to trod. Destiny is whatever route he chose, so no man in the truest sense is much of a victim after all, for God only knows rights and lefts. It is man in his moral slant who calls these turns either arise or fall. That poem, it was written when I started to challenge the morality of our society, where there were a lot of things I felt that were being moralized that weren't necessarily, they didn't really have any kind of moral weight to them. They were more or less like everyday decisions that people made. They were choices and not necessarily sinful, or, yet we look down on it. You walk a particular way, people will judge you by the way you walk. Your mannerisms. Anything. So that's where I was coming from. With that poem, it was just a statement on judgment that was going on, like we're judging people for all of these things. It's our moral slant that causes us to see these things as a rise or fall, where it's just a decision somebody made. You could either go this way or that way. One path that isn't necessarily higher than the next.
So I think this is a pretty short piece of yours. I've heard you perform before, and it's a little lengthier. How do you go about writing? Like, do you write and everything comes to you, or bit by bit? How does that happen?
It's a mixture. It isn't necessarily like a fixed process.
So different poems have different methods.
So there are ideas that will develop over time, the experiences that you will have, and you just look back and things just fall in line, and you're like, oh my god, that perspective that I now have, and you can relate to something else, and while I have a poem. There are times when you want to express something, so you know what it is. It doesn't just find you. You know what it is that you want to write, and you go through the process of trying to see how you can do it in an artistic way. Use pictures to tell that story. The process itself is one. It's not as simple as people might think. It's not like you just sit down and just write something. Anybody can do that. If you have the vocabulary, you can write something, but to make it truly artistic, to make it a story of images, you have to put yourself in a different place where.
Like, you mean physically or figuratively?
You have to put yourself in a place where you're beyond this world.
Oh, okay.
You know, for you to be able to compare a rock to a circumstance in somebody's life, you have to put yourself in a place where the rock and the circumstance is basically the same thing.
Can you give me an example?
Energy.
I give like a phrase example.
I could try to make something up. If you see everything as energy, you put yourself in that place. You're just in a sea of energy. The circumstances that you're in, it has an energetic vibration to it. It might have a hardness to it. A rock then has certain attributes. It has a hardness to it. So you look at what has that hardness. Oh, it's a rock. It's easy to compare them and see that the circumstance that you're in, the situation, is likened to a rock. Because you're not judging them like how they look. So you have to go beyond the point of how things. Yes, so you have to be in that place where you're dealing more with energy as opposed to what your eyes. So then you could point out attributes that fit both things that you're trying to compare.
So which way do you prefer? Like, is it like something where you're outside looking in, or you try to visualize yourself in the person's shoes or in the situation exactly of the concept or the topic?
If you're truly artistic, it comes natural. So it's not something like I try to develop over the years. As I said, I just grew up into it. So I just became somebody who just followed energy, sense energy, felt energy.
Okay.
You know. So from I was already in that space. That's why I can write from that space and it can resonate with people because I'm writing not from here, not from my physical space. I'm taking a step back. So it's like a spiritual experience for me. You know? So it's like you enter that spiritual world and you're doing something now. It's kind of magical. You know, like you can take images and place them in somebody's head. If you're empathetic enough, you know what the images you do will elicit in the other person. So if you want to create a happy feeling in somebody, you know, I guess that's where the talent comes in. You sort out what has that energy, what has that happy energy that I want to make that person experience. Oh, a sunrise. You take what you want from the sunrise, the essence of the sunrise, you infuse it in to a story, or whatever you're trying to describe, or into a poem, and then you feed it to the audience. So now you've magically taken something and placed into somebody's mind, you know?
So that they can walk in the experience, see how you saw it and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That sounds like a task. Sounds like a lot of work. From my perspective, it sounds like a lot of work. Do you feel like drained when you're done with a poem? Like you're like
some of them can be.
You've given put it all in there, and you're like after.
Some of them can be.
Yeah, because then you probably have to when you're reading it again, then you pull something else, put that there, pull something else, put that there. It sounds like a lot of work.
Sometimes it comes naturally. Sometimes it.
So how do you compile your work? For me, I normally put them on my phone. So do you have a book? Do you have different books? Do you have pieces of paper all over the place?
I have pieces of paper all over the place.
Okay.
And
so as soon as a thought comes, you pull something and write it down.
I used to be that disciplined. I've had to let go of poems because they can become magical after a while. You know, you're always thinking of something and writing it down, you know, and you're not making any progress in certain areas.
Okay, so you switched your method.
Yeah. You know, I have to leave the house sometimes, so if a thought comes to my mind, I have to prioritize what's important. So,
Because you take the whole day perfecting.
So that can no longer dominate my life. I wish that could be the reality. I wish I was in a place where I could just dedicate myself to this. You know, it's unfortunately there's this thing called bills that needs to be paid.
True. Yeah. True. But as long as you're still making the time to give to your art, to what makes you you, because you said it's you. It's not something that you decided that it's really a part of you. So as long as you're taking time to water that and continue telling the stories
of what I was talking about in terms of fixing the images into a story.
Yeah, sure. We're getting another one. I'm happy. Let's hear it.
So this one is entitled "A Gem."
Okay.
So this is how I did this one. She looked on so disconsolately as the beads of rain slid sluggishly into each other, picking up momentum until they streaked all the way down the specked pane. Like the tears from her eyes to the pillowcase did run. In the kitchen, an infuriated kettle is blowing a whistle, desperately heating up, trying to sound a futile alarm. China figurines are either frozen or they won't listen to creaks and moans caused by her mother's man. Muffled screams rattle inside as if ready to break the plates and teacups that man the rocking cabinet, clattering on each other as the wooden floor shakes. Out on the step, his black muddy boots are getting wet. His damp socks still stink with the hot sweat of his feet. Inside, her body is glistening with his dripping sweat as her fingers gnarl poppies printed on the sheets, while the nectar gets sucked from her budding breast. And in her ear he drools, gem, 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 gem. Yet, in spite of all this, there remains this thing about gems. They're never broken by the weeds of the dirt that covers them. Padding their pockets, teenage boys forming a line, turn querying, making sure they have their rubbers before venturing into this precarious diamond mine. They'll opt to bang inside her than bang at each other. She takes bullets from angry young men for society, turning what would be their frowns into smiles. She gives them the loving their mothers wouldn't give because theirs look like their absent father's eyes. A procession of convent victims, hugging notebooks full of heart-shaped equations against their chest, whisper nasty secrets between them, stopping to look about that girl with whom all the boys have had sex. Nobody cares what has caused her to take that path, or that she may be acting out because she is hurting. She's just an object at which they'll point and laugh, not seeing that under it all, she's still a good person. And all around the top is gem, 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 gem. Yet despite of all the specks of dirt that covers this gem, underneath her beauty cannot be tarnished by any of them. Taking images, fit an emotion, put on a page.
I need a minute after that one. Damn. Ooh. Okay, definitely understand what you're saying about sending that.
Sorry for putting that together.
that was heavy. That was, woo. That was heavy. Do you remember what ignited you to? Was that something that you saw happening?
Yeah.
Was it a friend, a relative?
From speaking to way too many friends and hearing that story
over and over.
Yes, so I think that it's something that I wanted to write as a man, you know, to give support to sisters. And I mean, if the only voices condemning it is just females, you know, I'm not saying it's not weighty in itself, you know, but I think a male voice being added to it, you know, lends significant weight. So I just wanted to make sure that I put my contribution in there.
Yeah, as you say that, I've actually only had one other male poet, which is Neil Ferry, on here. So having a second male poet is amazing, and it definitely shows the different thinking of men and women. It's like common knowledge that women and men don't think the same. But then hearing the perspective and artistic sense of a male, like a male perspective of it, it's like, I didn't even cross my mind, or I didn't even realize men were thinking about that. I thought you guys were just brushing that off, and it's beautiful. It's amazing to see a different perspective, you know. And I feel like, you know, more, as much as we have a lot of male singers creating rap music, all kinds of stuff like that, I think we need more male poets as well. And it's Neil was saying that growing up is not as common where parents teach men, boys to be in touch with, there's the emotions and the sensitivity and that kind of thing, or how to express it, or then they tend to give them like sports or something to either distract them or burn out the energy and stuff like that. And it's nice to hear you say that you know that you have always been a sensitive person and you didn't allow anything to like kill that side off of you, and instead you nurtured it in every aspect of your life, so much so that you compiled some poems as well. How many poems do you have in this?
I think I have 30 or 32 of them.
Yeah, and you've written that for some time, and I'm sure you have way more, right? By now, because I think you wrote this a few years already.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to venture into other things. I don't want to be seen only as a poet. So, I've been doing a lot of prose writing. So I've been trying to do a series. So that's what I've really been working on for the past couple of years.
So we'll be looking out though. We'll be.
No, I am.
Don't be looking at.
I'm not as enthusiastic as I used to be, so I don't have the energy that I used to have. But at least the foundation is laid.
Alright, that's good. That's good.
I'm hoping that I'll be in a space where I can just dedicate myself to doing that. There's something.
Awesome. Well, I do hope to be seeing and hearing more of you. I know, you have to do the task to pay the bills and keep the life flowing and going, but just keep in the back of your head, even though it's one comment that you make to a poet of where to fix the sentence or how to hold themselves differently when they perform, it makes a massive difference. So even though you're thinking, oh, like I didn't do anything, I just did, let me tell you, because seeing that you've done it for many years, you've like monitored yourself, you've seen other people do it, you've go through different places, settings, so any wisdom that you could pass on, make sure you do that. Yeah.
I'm always open to meeting people, and I'm always enthused by meeting young creatives. So anybody wants to reach me, and you don't have to feel shy,
And how can we reach you? Which way do you prefer? Facebook, Instagram? I don't think it'd be wise to give out your number.
Dang it.
So
I'm on Facebook. So
Glenn Charlery? Your full name?
Glenn P. Charlery. I had to put a P in there because I'm not. Yes.
Alright, so Glenn P. Charlery, I'll put the contact somewhere in the video or in the description. Yes, so when you get the messages, don't be surprised, like, how did this person know me? Alright, and I would like to say again, thank you for your time and your energy. The last poem is still processing through me.
It's been a while in making. I think that circumstances were just conspiring against us. We've had several attempts and we never was able to meet.
Yeah, everything happens when it must. I don't rush the process. I have thoroughly enjoyed this experience. I hope
you likewise.
Yes, awesome. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you would like to share your work and you're an artist, please feel free to contact me on my Instagram at charlery love. Yeah? Tune in again. Bye.
Bye.